How do you prepare for a presentation when you're really, really nervous about giving it? Let's talk about that. It's Scott Beebe, the Business on Purpose podcast, mybusinessonpurpose.com. Quarterly, the Business on Purpose family gets together, especially in the locale in the southern part of South Carolina, in the low country of South Carolina. And what we've been working on doing is taking the heroic small business owners and starting to put them on a pedestal and giving them an opportunity to present, because at the end of the day, they're the heroes. And so periodically, we'll invite somebody who's unique and got some variant perspective to come in and provide insight. And at the same time, we've also seen overwhelming value in having the heroic small business owners, regardless of their background in public speaking, to step up and put them on a pedestal and let them share their stories with a couple of key takeaways. Because when we can gain perspective from a room of peers, there's something about when Scott the coach says something, you know where I'm going with this, right? And the heroic small business owner's like, yeah, that's right, okay. But then when a peer says the same thing, all of a sudden there's that awkward moment because Scott's in the room. And so tomorrow at the time of this recording, we're actually having one of those 12-week planning sessions where we've got one of our heroic small business owner, before we do our 12-week plans, comes in and does a great presentation. And so I get asked the question a lot, hey, what do I do if I don't feel real comfortable? So let me give you a couple of tips real quick. Number one, remember, we're not coming to be wowed by your presentation. We're coming because you've got experience to share, and we want to hear that. We want to be a part of it. We want to dive into that with you. So lay out, number one, your purpose. Why, or what is it that you want us to get out of this time with you? Make it just one thing. What's one thing when I stand up from this time with you that you want me to walk away with going, got it. That's something I can implement. So go ahead and lay that out. In fact, on a sheet of paper, write purpose, and then lay it out. What's the one thing? Make it simple. Make it grabbable, reachable, so I can go after it. Then from there, you want to start with a story. Just start with a simple story that eventually is going to tie into your main points. Now, you might say, well, I don't know what story to tell. Okay, well, let's go to the points that you want to make out of the presentation. I want you to think about the business that you're building. What are 2 or 3 major things that may not seem like a big deal to you, but frankly, you become pretty good at them? It might be customer engagement. It might be building purpose into training with your team. It might be a variety of different things. Whatever it is, pick 2 or 3, going back to your key purpose as to what the takeaways are. So once you've got that key purpose and go, okay, what are 2 or 3 major elements of that key purpose that I want to lock in on? Once you've got those 2 or 3 elements, that's when you can go back to the opening story and go, hey, this is a unique story, and think crazy. Think stuff that you've not thought about before. Think back when you were 8 years old, 15 years old. What's a story from that time that you can bring into the discussion around those 2 or 3 points to get to your main purpose? Then once you've got those 2 or 3 points, tie a simple story to each point. In fact, start out each point with a simple story. And it could be a story out of a book you've read, out of a podcast you've listened to, out of something you've heard on this podcast. It could be a story that you've heard from somebody else. It could be a parable, something you made up just to prove the point, whatever it might be. Write out a story for each of the 3 points, just a simple story. And then make your point out of those stories. And at the very end, summarize everything you just said, and then say, hey guys, I want to go back to my main purpose and what it is that I want to leave you with. And then if you can end with one final story, all the better. If you just want to focus it that way, purpose, 3 points, a story to launch, a simple story for each one, a closing story, and then finally shut it down, you'll be good to go. That's a great place to start for you so that you can begin to serve other small business owners in a powerful way. Hey, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you're building. You do have a story to tell, so we want to make sure that you tell that story and tell it really, really well. Have confidence. You've been given a gift. We'll see you next time right here on the Business on Purpose podcast.